What is up, bros? Me, Josh here. In today's video, we're going to the Tier 8 Premium Battleship for the IGN line, the Key. Now, the Key is the latest Tier 8 Battleship, Tier 8 Premium to actually hit World of Warships, and it is actually a lot of fun. I actually really enjoy this ship. It looks, as you can see, very similar to the Amagi, and that's because it basically is. It's almost like the Admiral Hipper Prince Eugen situation, but I like this ship more than I did the Eugen to the Hipper. And let's jump into the reasons why. Now, the Key is going to play very similar to the Amagi. It really is. Their playstyles, you almost won't even notice a difference until you get into certain situations that makes this thing shine. So the hit points on the Key are just a tad over at 68,200 than the Amagi. Its armor layout is a little bit different. The Key isn't quite as tanky as the Amagi, and this is the reason why. The Citadel protection is just a tad higher on the Amagi. So although you really won't see it, you're going to be, if you're taking shots on the side, you're going to be taking Citadels anyway. But the Amagi is a bit tankier of a ship over the Key, and but most of the time, I guess you won't really notice a difference. I haven't really noticed a difference. Main battery, very similar. The Amagi with the 30-second reload, and the Key with the 31-second reload. A tad better of a dispersion. I found when I played the Key that the dispersion was very hit and miss for me. Sometimes it would be shooting lasers, and other times it would be a bit more shotgun style. But all in all, I felt the dispersion was very good. Maximum battery range of 19.4, so very competitive, especially at Tier 8. Secondary range, you're going to be out to a 6 in some change. Now, I believe this is with an AFT captain, and it is, yeah. So that's about the range you're going to get unless you go with the secondary module, which I don't run. You can get up to 7.2. Now, one of the tricks up your sleeve with this ship is it has torpedoes, very similar to, let's say, the Tirpitz, 6 kilometers, and 2 sets of 3, as you can see there here in the back. So a nice little trick up your sleeve if you are going to push and get semi-aggressive on a ship. This ship is going to be played a bit more like a sniper than, let's say, like a tanking ship like the Tirpitz. But still, you do have the ability to get aggressive and put torpedoes into your enemies. And at a 90-second reload, they're relatively quick for a battleship. Now, one of the main things that sets this apart from the Amagi is this is basically taking Amagi frame and put North Carolina AA on it. The AA on the ship is out of this world good, and you can absolutely blaze planes out of the sky. So, as you can see, I'm kind of specking to AA with this captain, and I have a rating of 99. So, pretty nuts, and that's at 7.2 kilometers. Now I'm running the modules, jump to that in a second. But 166 damage per second at 7.2, 176 at 5.1, and 104 at 4.4. So at 7.2 kilometers, you are pinging planes out of the sky. It's very good. So your long range AA is going to definitely be your strongest. So you are an AA platform. There's rumors and there's apparently math out there that says this thing can, if you're fully spec'd into it, the AA on a North Carolina, you can actually beat it with the Key. I don't really like specking too much into the Key, into AA ships, full AA battleships, so I don't think I'd ever run it. But with what I'm running, I have no problem with planes, and if something tries to drop on me, they're definitely going to lose some in the process. Pretty dang fast, almost 30 knots for a battleship. You're almost at cruiser speed. Rudder shift at 12.7 seconds, turning radius 880, and a detection with the concealment captain of 13.4, which is just a tad under an Amagi. Amagi's at 30 seconds, a bit slower rudder shift, and 13 kilometers flat. Now the captain I am running on this is very basic. This is kind of my Yamato captain, and a very normal survivability build with AFT and concealment expert. So very basic, and the modules I am running on this ship are main armament mod 1, the AA range. I really like this, so if you really wanted to, you could switch up some extra range on your secondaries. I don't think it's worth it because this is a more of a sniper class. So when you're sniping, your only real scare is planes, so you want to be able to knock them out as fast as possible. Damage control system mod 1, turning radius for torps and planes, and then of course stealth detection. Let's dive into some gameplay on this ship and kind of show you what this has the ability to do. So here we are in the Key on Tears of the Desert. I know everybody's favorite map, and luckily enough, per usual, Tier 8 matchmaking, we are bottom tier. Now, one disclaimer, as you look in the bottom left corner, you can see I have a very noobish 71,000 life. What does that mean? That means I have the wrong captain in this class. I unluckily left my Shimikaze, accidentally switched him in here, so I don't have my normal captain. Luckily, with the Shimikaze captain, means my torpedoes are going to load super quick, which can actually work in the situation. But that is the reason why I have 71,000 life. Just a quick little disclaimer here. And one topic I kind of want to hit on is comparing ships in World of Warships, kind of like the Key slash Amagi situation. So something we've seen, and what I mean by that is basically a premium version of another ship that you can get in the game. So since what we saw in the past is a situation like the Prince Eugen and a situation like the Admiral Hipper. Now with that, I forbidded people to buy the Prince Eugen unless they really, really love the Hipper or they want it for the historical aspect of the situation. But really, the Admiral Hipper and the Prince Eugen are literally the same thing. Now you can look at this and say, me, Josh, well, this is kind of the same thing as well. But I think the Key compared to the Amagi is different enough that warrants this ship, I would say, picking up and being worth purchasing. I think there are enough differences in this ship compared to that. There's other situations in this game. Let's say the Arizona to the New Mexico. I think the Arizona is different enough to pick up compared to, let's say, the New Mexico. They're very similar, but there is some differences, and this definitely does. It's an Amagi that has a lot of AA, it's an Amagi that has torpedoes, and it's an Amagi that can just give you extra premium boost and help you, let's say, train up a IGN captain, train up an IGN, apparently in this situation, IGN DD captain. So there are some massive advantages compared to, let's say, the Prince Eugen and the Hipper. So I'm not going to harp on the Prince Eugen too much. I just don't think that ship's worth it because it's almost identically a Hipper. That's my only shrug on that. So what we did right there is, even though we're bottom tier, doesn't mean we can't hit a nice broadside Iowa for a good old 40,000 damage hit. No big deal. And I'm trying to play a little bit slow right here, trying to help out against 2 tier 9 battleships, a Donetskoy and a Shima, going against the battleship in a bottom tier div. Tends to be a little bit dangerous, so I'm going to circle out a little bit farther and get some distance on this guy. Unluckily, there it is. I can hit a broadside Iowa, he can hit a broadside Key. Nice little trade right there, damage for damage. And I'm going to try to get away and lick my wounds a little bit. So, fighting the Shimakaze on CCAP. And this is probably the best game I've had in the Key so far, and I find this thing to absolutely destroy. I've been finding myself in tier 8 matchmaking, at least on North American server, as getting pretty much bottom tiered a lot. Not saying every game, but just bottom tiered. So it has been kind of tough getting some insanely good games, but this one didn't have a CV. This thing is definitely going to shine. It's going to play, this ship is going to play almost identically like an Amagi if there isn't a CV in the game. That's when you really see the differences, and that's when you can really see the strength of this ship when there is a CV, especially if you can get lucky enough to get a tier 8 or a tier 7 CV. You just absolutely shred his planes. Like I said earlier, this is basically an Amagi with a North Carolina AA set on top of its head. So one of the biggest anti-battleship classes in this game, you are, I wouldn't quite say nullifying, but you are definitely putting a hindrance to, and that is CVs being able to drop on you. Now, a CV is going to be able to get some planes through, but if you spec this thing completely out, let's say with manual AA and BFT and all that kind of stuff, you are going to absolutely shred planes just like you would with anything fully spec'd out for AA. I tend to not like those kind of builds. I think they're kind of, I would say, kind of worthless because a full AA build, I feel like you're kind of preparing against a ghost that you're not sure. So, I mean, if I want a full AA build on this, I would lose a lot of my survivability stuff for captain skills, and it would not be, like, honestly used. So, that's why I think the module and AFT are going to be enough, and as you can see, we're just basically rolling this team right now. So, we're kind of heading down, but you can only stay in one spot too much. I try not to do that, and I try to get my team to keep moving. So basically, once that Shima was gone, that was the thing I was nervous about, was we need to get away from the C cap and push towards B cap, because there's really nothing else here. So heading towards B, and that's what I was communicating with my div anyway. So basically going to get one more shot on this guy, and then going to turn hard to my right, and then start rolling. See, I'm already kind of getting the guns ready. So the Key, I'm loving this ship. It's probably one of my top played tier 8s right now, because, you know, and look at that torp. I'm glad I showed it. Look at that torp angle. Although the torps are way in the butt, if you've ever played like a Zao or an Ibuki, something like that, the torp arcs tend to be, you gotta show basically your broadside to get a torp off. This, you can be very, very aggressive with your angles of torps, and I'll show you guys in a little bit as well, a little later in the game. You have to be very, very aggressive in most situations to get torps, even with like a Tirpitz. With this, you can almost be nose in. You can almost be bow into a ship and actually get your torps off. So that's a great, as you can see, I'm trying to get the whole team to head to B. That's a great advantage in being aggressive in this ship. Yeah, you're going to take a beating, and it's mainly just, okay, this is the play, and actually in this play I show off a really good chance of, you know, the Amagi kind of being known as a sniper and kind of a long-range ship, as, let's say, like a Tirpitz or North Carolina could tank a lot better. The ability for this ship to be aggressive and using its torps and pumping out damage and really tanking damage for your team can really make or break a game for you and your team. So what we're trying to do right now is we have an Azuma over there, we have a Donskoy over there that are pretty low, but we need to focus on these guys on B, because if we aren't killing anything, most of the time, if you aren't killing stuff or nothing's really going, what that means to me is we are losing the game. If things aren't kind of dying, that means your team's kind of getting beat up, and in my head that means, okay, we need to start pumping out some damage. I mean, we're at 65k, but we basically did that, almost all that damage in like 2 salvos, so really not much has gone on in, like, I guess, like the second quarter of this game for me, so we've kind of been away from everything. We need to get aggressive, start pumping out some damage, and hopefully take out the south. So down goes the Monarch. We're kind of crushing these guys now, but we have a couple low ships, and they have a couple still sneaky ships with the Des Moines, the Minotaur, Yamato. There's still some big boys out there, and as you can see, the only ships we've lost so far are 3 tier 10s. So we have some of their tier 10s versus some of our tier 8s, and me, I'm kind of out of position a little bit. So just still going to push and get a bit more aggressive on this guy. One thing you could also do when you bought this ship was get a special camo, and it actually looks pretty cool. You have to enable in game though, but you could actually get a special camo. I didn't end up getting it, and it actually looks really, really cool. It's kind of a black and gold situation, and I thought it looks pretty freaking cool. So if you guys did pick it up in one of the packs, it does look pretty damn good. You just have to enable it for other people to see. It does look like, if you don't have it enabled, it looks like you aren't wearing camo, so just a heads up if people are giving you some crap in TeamSpeak, or in team chat. So we're starting to drop a couple ships here, which isn't the worst thing, like, all in all, because we have some pretty healthy ships. We have one more destroyer we need to worry about, and but mainly getting rid of this Minnow, getting rid of that Des Moines, stuff like that. And that's a very, very aggressive Minotaur. I've been seeing that a lot recently, where Minotaurs are just going ham. So I don't know why people are getting so aggressive with the Minotaurs. You got Royal Navy battleships are basically the pimples, and it just takes one good shot from a battleship and a cruiser to basically pop you. So I don't know why people are getting so aggressive with these things recently. I don't know if it's the rise of the quote-unquote Manotaur or something like that, but if you're on the red team, feel free to be a Manotaur. I would be glad to put a 20k salvo into your side every time. I think GG easy. I don't know why so many people are playing it so aggressively. I think up until the Conqueror, I think the Minotaur for a long time has been one of the worst played tier 10 ships, because I feel like people are way too aggressive with it. And with that ship, it's easily one of the most punished ships. A nice little hit on that destroyer, and our Hirakazi's gonna go down. So we are down destroyers, but we did kill theirs. So it's basically 2 of their ships that we know are pretty. And like, look at this angle. This angle's pretty good for torps. We don't have to give a full broadside. We're gonna be able to shoot down this plane, and we're gonna go against this Bismarck. So Bismarck is pretty much gonna beat me close range when it comes to this, because of his secondaries and stuff like that. So I'm gonna get ready for this shot. His guns luckily weren't on me, so my idea on this was put the shot in, do damage, turn, and then get ready for the next shot. So this is where the pain comes for me, getting ready for the other side of Torpedoes. So a nice 22k salvo, snag him with a torp right there. So he's gonna be flooding. We just need to get some secondaries on it, and I tried to estimate on where he would go here. So in secondary range of a Bismarck, in secondary range of a Yamato, this is gonna be pretty brutal for me, but I figured I could go kind of aggressive here and get the kind of rewarded for it. Not a very lucky shot right there, but I can't really give the Yamato a broadside. If I do, I just get absolutely destroyed. So down goes the Bismarck. Luckily this Yamato really wasn't paying attention to me, and I was trying to get some nice reloads here. Luckily, I was wearing my Shimakaze captain, so the torps were a bit quicker. But if you're going to be in range of a Yamato, you're just going to absolutely get blopped by his guns and everything. So he's a Yamato. He puts a nice little Yamato salvo into me. I drop it for a Citadel. So 150 some K. We end up winning this game. No big deal. But that shows the power of pushing with the key. An Amagi couldn't have done that. Amagi just wouldn't have been able to do the extra torp damage, put a flooding on that guy, and really just kind of take advantage and be aggressive. So the key, guys, I find the ship definitely worth grabbing. I think it's a fun tier 8. Tier 8 has become, with the Turpets, the Alabama, the key, there's a lot of different choices for tier 8, especially in premium ships, just for battleships. I think the key is definitely worth grabbing. It's different. It's very similar to the Amagi, but it's just different enough. And I definitely think it's worth a get. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the key. If you guys like it, if you guys think it's a waste of money, maybe, let me know. And remember to hit that like button, guys. Channel's been growing a lot recently, so I appreciate all the support. You guys are awesome. Keep it up, and I'll keep making videos. Until next time, guys, I will see you. Peace.